Hello, my name's Joe, and in this video I'm going to be giving an update on my Sibo. It's been 3 weeks since my last video, and although I've tried to do a few videos, I didn't get round to getting them up and then ended up deleting them. But here we are anyway, 3 weeks, and it's things starting to get much better. It's been a lot of slog, head down, moping about type of energy. I mean, I've been doing things, but just not in a very pleasant energy because I've my approach. So in this video specifically, I'm going to be talking about how the low Fodmap diet didn't work, carnivore diet. I'm going to be talking about poo, big poo alert for anyone who's squeamish, bloating, GP referral, challenges of carnivore, and how my imagination is coming back through being on the carnivore diet and getting away from low Fodmap. So I'll just jump right in. The low Fodmap, I think on my first video I said I was going to do carnivore strict, and I did. I jumped onto steak and eggs, which I've done in the past, which always helps to get my energy back and lose some of the bloat. And then there was this part of me that was thinking, right, I should really be trying to increase my microbial diversity and get more bacteria in there. So I thought I'll just eat low Fodmap vegetables. And what was interesting was when, say for breakfast, I'd just have steak and eggs, and then for dinner I'd have eggs, and I'd put some vegetables with it. Whenever I'd eat the vegetable, even if it's a low Fodmap vegetable, I would get really bad bloating, and this, like, all my symptoms would come back, like fatigue, brain fog, depression, joint pain, low motivation, and low appetite. You know, the list is long anyway, and just eating a low Fodmap vegetable did that. I'm just trying to get it up on the app now. And so I'm going to show you my kind of progress. There's been a lot of spikes in the road, but you can see here, this is almost 3 weeks ago, about 19 days ago. So the 9th of April, and it's now the 28th of April. So yeah, almost 3 weeks ago, and you can see, sorry for the reflection, but yeah, the spike up here, this was me trying a low Fodmap vegetable, and all these other spikes have been lessons in the road on low Fodmaps again. And what, even like in the past when I've gone carnivore, I've never gone fully carnivore. It's always been like 85%, 90%, 95%, and I've included a handful of blueberries and coconut in the past, and 85% dark chocolate, 90% dark chocolate, just because I find it so hard to be that restrictive. I'm like holding on. Part of my past, was, let's face it, the reason why I got here to having gastrointestinal issues was because I have been an absolute glutton. I've stuffed my face since I was a kid with rubbish, junk food. And I've done bodybuilding in the past, and so I've just been like eating anything and everything, and which caused teeth issues, and then which consequently had root canals, antibiotics, and that's just all compounded this problem. Probably it's getting close towards the root cause. There's probably some other factors in there as well, I don't know, but it seems to be consistent with sugar consumption is the worst. And so I love carbohydrates, yeah. So I don't want to be eating the carnivore diet for longer than I need to be. Let's just be clear about that. I want to be in and out as fast as I can. So to do that, I've realised I have to be, the more restrictive I am, the quicker I'll be able to get back to enjoying carbohydrates again. I want to be eating mashed potato, I want to be eating fruit, I want to be eating blueberries, raw honey, not even the bad stuff. I might have a pizza every blue moon, or a takeaway every blue moon. If we go out to a restaurant, I'll enjoy and I'll let go. But I've managed to change my habits now, so I have much more self-control than I've ever done, and it's taken a long while to get here, years, actually, with just like persistence, and then slowly my defaults changed over time. So I'd have like where I'd have a litre of Ben and Jerry's in the past. Now it'll be Greek yogurt, raw honey, blueberries, and that's kind of my treat. So I've been able to make some big changes and stay consistent with that. But obviously my gut is that ruined from the bacteria and the damage it's probably caused, and God knows what else is in there. So yeah, I've really learned that carnivore is the way to get the quickest alleviation from symptoms, I would say. And I know when I've done it in the past, my digestion's always improved when I've introduced fruits and vegetables, but I've never had the foodie device to measure my levels in my gut, which I have now. Let me just get it, because this has been an absolute game changer. And that graph that I just showed you there, that was the fermentation levels of hydrogen that you can see in my gut. I didn't even explain clearly. So all those spikes are like really high levels of hydrogen producing bacteria in my gut, which is the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And only down here as it started to go low. The more carnivore I am, the lower the fermentation levels are, and the better I feel. Like I said, I have access to my thoughts, my just my cognitive function is way better when I'm not dealing with like severe bloating, which I have. I've still got a little bit of a bloat, and it's changing each day. Each day it's like gets progressively better being on like carnivore. And so for and I'd say about 2 weeks as well, my digestion has been really good. Still quite a slow gut motility, but the poo alert, any poos that I've had have been great. They've been really big sinkers, good consistency, good size, like real good textbook poos. And that's not common for me, and especially it hasn't been since being on Sibo. It's always changing. There's never consistency with it, so it's nice just to get some consistency. And I can still feel like there's pockets though maybe that need to die off, and but so there's like pockets of gas within my intestine that I'm still working to get rid of, and I think it's just going to take a bit of time away from having anything that's feeding these bacteria to actually really getting out the woods. And I'm still taking antimicrobials, quite high doses, and that's a berberine, oregano oil, and neem. And I also have caprylic acid and N-acetylcysteine to help break down any potential biofilms that may be there. And then if I have really strong symptoms, I'll drink some activated charcoal to help clear anything that's dying off. But so that's it with the bloat. What else with the bloat? Yeah, so my imagination has come back online. I have access to just a better thinking ability, going from feeling like I can't string a sentence together and just like a lot of brain fog and just low mental energy, low energy in general, to feeling energized, motivated, just feeling like I'm getting my energy back. My happiness seems to be coming back with the decline of the bacteria and the gas levels. So there is a really strong correlation there between my well-being and having low gas, which is why I don't think the low Fodmap is a good way to start your Sibo treatment. In my experience anyway, I've bounced back and forth for the last 2 years, not being able to measure my levels, but now I'm able to measure them. And I'm feeling quite empowered and informed. I've done shit tons of research, and obviously a lot of experimentation with myself, not just in this past 3 weeks, but in the past 2 years, specifically kind of being pretty much convinced that I've had Sibo, but just probably wasn't taking strong enough antimicrobials. I certainly wasn't taking the levels that I'm taking now anyway, and so I'm happy to share those as well. But it seems to be the carnivore and the antimicrobials side to side is working. Whenever I'd have a FODMAP vegetable, all my symptoms would come back, and it's like, what's the point in experiencing those symptoms when I can just go carnivore, have no symptoms, feel better, have more happiness, more energy, whilst also, because like I said, the bloat's still here, so I'm obviously still killing off bacteria. And say what, if they go dormant or whatever, and they just hide out until I start eating again, at least in 3 months' time, when I'm, you know, I've really done a good job at reducing the numbers and starving them. That's how long I think I'm gonna try and aim for. 3 months, it seems like a prison stretch more than anything, but I'm pretty confident I could do it if I, you know, really set my mind to it. It's just it's a difficult decision to make. I mean, it's an easy decision because I want to feel better as soon as possible. It's just difficult to let go, even of 90% chocolate, even of coconut, and even of blueberries, which I've included in my carnivore diet in the past. But this time, I think it's just going to be beef, eggs, salmon, bacon, salt, and I'm going to use olive oil as well because it's a good fat. And that's it. Just head down 1 meal, 2 meals a day probably, and bone broth. I'm going to make bone broth to cook my food in, which I'm actually doing now. I'll probably do another video on the foods that I eat, and I'm having offal as well, liver and heart, just a little bit each day, not too much, just for like a multivitamin, and kefir. Sorry, the list is just getting longer and longer, but yeah, that's going to be pretty much the bulk of my diet. The kefir, I am so happy that I'm able to digest it again. I still feel there's like a very slight trigger. That might be somewhere where my intestine is slightly damaged, but I think I'm with the carnivore and the bone broth and the, you know, it's repairing fast, and so I feel like I can keep the kefir in because that is like, it's more enjoyable than I mean, I enjoy eating steaks and salt anyway, and eggs. I've got used to it now, and especially bacon. You know, that's like a treat as well, right? But I'm allowing it myself because, you know, I don't need to be militant about it. All right, bacon's probably not the healthiest, but I don't care. While I'm doing this 3 months, I work out 6-7 days a week anyway. Always in the gym. Blood sugars are stable, and so I have no issue with, no concern with cholesterol. My cholesterol is high, my LDL is high, but I'm working on increasing my HDL, my omega-3s, through eating salmon a few times a week, taking cod liver oil. So hopefully that balances out soon. And I eat grass-fed meat, so I'm not concerned one little bit with cholesterol, from what I understand about it anyway. And so what's now, my GP as well. I ended up asking for rifaximin from my GP, and they had the antibiotics, which apparently are really effective in killing off the Sibo. It's been a bit of a blessing really that they didn't give it me. They didn't feel comfortable, but I think I can do this without the antibiotics. I'm going to try my best anyway to do it without the antibiotics, and you know, so maybe it's a good thing they haven't given it to me. I've tried to send them some links published by the NHS to inform them of, you know, the efficacy of rifaximin, but they still didn't feel comfortable prescribing them to me, so they've referred me to a gastroenterologist, which hopefully will be in touch, you know, soon, and maybe they'll be more informed on Sibo. And if they're not anyway, I already, like I said, I feel empowered and pretty well informed and up to date with the latest on Sibo. The only thing that is different is my opinion in starting carnivore sooner than later. The idea of starting a low FODMAP soon is so you keep the bacteria alive and you can then kill them off with the antimicrobials, but your symptoms are going to stay present there, you know, until you've really reduced the numbers, and that can take weeks, you know, which is shown on mine, which I don't want to do anymore. I'm all about fast results, and because going from a state of brain fog and fatigue and like feeling depressed as a result of those two symptoms alone, and having a really low like mental output or bandwidth, it's just so depressing. You can't do nothing in the day, and so to go from that to feeling creative, having my imagination come back online, listening to music, dancing, just being happy about, you know, being alive again, feeling grateful. And it feels like I've gained access to these by decreasing my numbers, and Carnivore is doing that. And then, you know, if there is bacteria in there, once I start introducing vegetables as soon as I can, as soon as I feel ready, and I've had consistent low levels for, you know, at least on the back end of 3 months anyway. Then when I start introducing the FODMAPs, I'll start with low FODMAPs first, you know, work my way up to like sweet potatoes and oats, because I want to eat oats again, because they're good for training. I much prefer training with carbohydrates in my system than being on Carnivore. You know, I go to the gym when I've had steak and eggs and I have good energy, but I think, yeah, I just like the way my body feels with carbohydrates in, and I enjoy food. I enjoy carbohydrates, so I want to get onto them sooner rather than later. And hopefully I can get creative with doing some videos as well. I've got some ideas if I'm able to stay consistent. But yeah, so far so good. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Maybe I'll do a video on like what I do for breakfast, or how I make my breakfast.